So, my topic for this week is going to be this. So, what are some of your guys' favorite video games that are underrated or there's like overshadowed? Like, one of my examples is actually from a series that's really popular, but some of these games in the series get overshadowed by the better games in the series or more popular ones. So, like, I'll bring a couple of them out here, and then we can pick your games or guys' ideas for a few of yours. So, like, one of them that is near and dear to my heart is The Legend of Dragoon.
Okay, yeah.
Have you guys ever heard of that?
Never heard of it.
It's a fantastic game.
The name is familiar, but I don't know what genre it is. Like I've heard
RPG.
the name.
It is
Okay.
okay. Have you played Final Fantasy? It's pretty much
very
a
similar.
Sony Final Fantasy, pretty
Yep.
much.
Okay.
It is really like I loved that game. Okay.
Worst graphics ever in a video game.
Most assuredly. That's why there's a petition with 27,000
To remake
signatures
it,
To
yeah.
remake it.
Can you imagine Bluepoint remaking that game or something?
Are you on that petition?
I may or may not be on that petition.
Big surprise
Okay.
there.
Before we move on, I just want to say you guys said worst graphics ever. Have you seen PS1 Hagrid?
Okay, we're not talking to you right now. But
Have you seen Legend of Dragoon? Because they're crap.
Is it worse than PS1
But the
Hagrid?
story
Well,
in
it's
Legend of
PS1 too,
Dragoon
but-
is to die
It's really
for.
good, yeah.
It is really an incredible story. And then their actual elements, like, it's an RPG, but it's not one of those where you just simply make a selection, do this action.
Sure.
They have an addition system where you actually have to time your button presses to land at better attack combos. It is
Which wasn't
very
a
creative.
huge thing back
We're
then.
not, no.
Early
So-
1990s.
PS1
so
Hagrid.
that's one.
Oh, that's way better.
Is it really?
For some of the models that they had, that is better.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. So
It was just another Final Fantasy game, really. I thought so. It was fun, though.
see another one, like I was saying, for series Final Fantasy. I feel like 5 is underrated. I feel like 8 is underrated.
8 is
compared
on
to
my
7.
list. I was going to talk about 8, so.
Well, so I'll leave that one to
All
you.
right.
Okay. And I also feel like 9 is a bit underrated, especially in the shadow of 7.
Honestly, yeah, there's a bunch there. 9 and 8.
Have you
6 is pretty good, too.
6 is phenomenal.
But 6 has a
See,
lot
man,
of critical
It
acclaim.
has a
though.
lot of good acclaim to it. That's why I didn't count it as
Yeah.
one of the underrated ones. 5, though, gets way overshadowed by 4 and 6.
I don't know if I played 5, to be honest.
Oh, it is actually really well done.
I played
If
4.
you guys get a chance, I recommend it. If you're into those games, it's definitely an RPG.
They're
but
not.
I figured.
Nick, I don't know. You might be able to get into it. Maybe not.
And then I'm just going to
Final
mention
Fantasy?
Yeah,
one
I don't
more
know if you would
before
or
I.
not.
I don't. If
Throw it
it's-
back at
I
you
need
guys,
a lot
but-
of battling and.
Well, there's a lot of battling. It's just not an. It's an RPG, but whatever.
So it's turn-based RPG.
Yeah, he's probably a no-go. Jordan doesn't play games that I recommend, so I just don't even talk to
He
him.
doesn't play good games. you
That's
mean.
true.
Okay, so the last one I'm going to mention
Love
before
you,
I turn it over to
Jordan.
you guys. I have more, but I'll turn over to you guys after this.
Have you played The Witcher yet?
Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver. You guys ever
I
played
remember.
those?
Yeah,
I never heard of
I
it.
remember the
Okay.
Soul Reaver games.
I've never heard of it.
Not great graphics again,
No.
but the dialogue in that game is the best dialogue I've seen in any video game ever. It is just so entertaining and so natural. Like, it is phenomenally well done.
a big comment there.
Like, I have seen some incredible dialogue in games.
Mm-hmm.
Legacy of
Okay.
Kain, Soul Reaver. I am still like, I almost play the game just for the dialogue option sometimes.
I remember playing that demo and remember when PlayStation 1 came with demo discs still?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I
You-
love those.
Those are amazing.
I love
Right?
those.
I remember
things.
playing. Was it Soul Reaver 2 or something? On
Yeah,
it?
there's Soul Reaver 2.
Yeah.
1 and 2.
I
That
actually
was
might
fun.
have a couple demo discs. For
I still do.
for PS2.
I would just break them out sometimes, but no, I
That'd
don't.
be fun, man. Oh,
I did one time. It was a
That's
long
actually
time ago.
something we should do. Is like a let's play video or
I
something.
have a bunch. We could do
All
that.
right.
We just play the
but
demos.
yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah.
But I want
Alright.
to hear you guys' thoughts. What are some of your favorite underrated video games?
Underrated.
Okay, so
games.
there's a game that it's near and dear to my heart, and I know it's near and dear to a ton of other people's hearts as well. But it
Is it
seems like,
underrated
well, here's the thing.
or overrated.
Whenever I bring it up on stream, I would say 70% of people have never played it, which I find it really hard to
Okay.
believe because I grew up with this game, and that would be Banjo-Kazooie.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah,
But-
I've heard of it. Yeah, I played a little bit too.
It seems like more people haven't played it when I bring it up. They're like, I've never played it, never heard of it, and I'm like, that's one of my all-time favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
It was like the I don't know, almost like a copy of Crash Bandicoot back in the day.
well, Crash Bandicoot was more
Sure, there were different like
like
mechanics to the
you're
games
you're
and stuff.
constantly
Yeah.
running down a hill in Crash Bandicoot. Almost.
Sometimes,
but
sometimes, yeah, there are levels that like that.
yeah, but
but
this
that
is
came out
open
the
world,
same
kind of.
area, or the same era, I should say,
Very
Yeah.
similar
and very
aesthetics.
similar aesthetics, like game styles and stuff. So.
yeah. See, and I never had Crash Bandicoot. The first
Really?
time I ever played
Those are
a
fun
Crash
games
game,
back in the day.
I played. Is it the remastered, like the trilogy? You know.
Yeah, they came out not too long ago.
Yeah, so I forget
got
what they
that on
call
One,
it.
two, and Warped.
I got
3.
that on PlayStation 2, all three of
Yeah,
them.
which
So-
I feel like actually though with the remastered ones, and this is a different conversation for a different day. I think they made them significantly harder because there's no way those games were that hard back in the day, and people were passing them as kids.
They were kind of difficult,
They were actually quite
I-
challenging.
especially
could
on
not
different
do it.
levels of difficulty.
But anyways, that's a different conversation. But yeah, so
Banjo-Kazooie?
Banjo-Kazooie,
Okay.
that's one because
It could be underrated. I would say that's fine being underrated.
Yeah, see, because it
It's
just
pretty
seems
popular,
like
though.
for me in my head, it's like it's top tier game ever made. But then when I talk about it to people, oh, I've never heard of it or I've never played it. I'm like, how? That's what I grew
I haven't
up
played
with.
through all of them.
See, I've only played the first one. I haven't played
Okay.
Banjo-Tooie, which I know is, and then like there's Nuts and Bolts as well.
Well, I mean, he's in Smash now, so he's
That's
got
true.
some notoriety.
That is true. Another game that I never played, but I thoroughly enjoyed when I played it. Same exact thing. Conker's Bad Fur Day. That was
okay.
that was just funny. Like I feel like there's more people that haven't played that because it was rated M.
It's kind of
on
a
the
meme. I think a
It-
lot of people
more of
have
a
It
meme
played
is.
than
that.
anything.
It is. And the sense of humor though is my exact.
Sure,
sense
it
of
was
humor.
it was more mature rated humor and stuff for what
Yeah.
was out at during that time.
Yes. And
But
so
a lot
I
of people have played that, and a lot of people want a remake or a remaster of that.
see now. Was it as popular though? I'd still say it's underrated. Or in the most part, I'd say a lot of people haven't played it.
It's more known or popular and played than Banjo-Kazooie, maybe, which
See,
is a tough sell.
I
but
would say it's opposite of that. I'd say
don't
Banjo-Kazooie
know.
has played more than
Like-
Conker's, but I don't know. Another
at least
game,
in the circles that I like see and I'm in a little
Okay.
bit, I'd say it is, but I don't know like broad population, I guess.
seeing in my circles that I know, it's the opposite, where more people have played Banjo than Conker's.
But I know people who played Conkers just for the memes.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I played it was for
Yeah.
the memes at first. I'm like, you know what? I've never played it. It's made by Rare. It's rated M. I'm like, this just seems like it's going to be hilarious. And I remember the first time I hit the Great Mighty Pooh, I was in tears laughing, dude. When he's singing that song, I'm like, this is my favorite thing ever. This is like one of my all-time favorite games now.
I'll keep that in mind
adore
for
it.
my topic.
I adore it.
But notice there's a lot of games that were kind of all in that genre that came out at the same time.
Well, yeah.
Like
'Cause
Conkers and Banjo and Crash and
the
Spyro. And
3D platformers, that was
You
a
know?
huge thing back in the 90s.
some of those are really good too.
Yeah.
Super Mario 64 still holds up. Banjo-Kazooie holds up. Donkey Kong 64 holds up. I think. I mean, I got Donkey Kong sitting on my computer right now. Like, it's one of my favorite games as well, which I've actually never beat, though. It was always so hard for me as a kid. I could never make it past the ending of the games. I'm not a good gamer.
We know that.
I'm terrible
Is
at
that why you
games.
don't play games that we tell you to play?
I just don't have time.
Don't lie to me with this.
Don't lie to us.
That is
with
the
that.
biggest lie. But whatever. Sure, okay.
I'm trying to think of other games that... And I know there's one that's
Banjo,
going to pop in my
Conkers.
head.
Okay.
Because even Conkers, I'd say, was, because like I said, I never heard of it until Rare Replay.
Mhm.
And then I saw it, I'm like, what is this? And I clicked on it, and I started playing it one day just on a whim, because on stream I was going through Rare Replay. Like, you've never heard of it? You have to play it. I'm like, all right. So I gave that a shot, and it immediately became one of my favorite games. I mean, you're an alcoholic squirrel. For
Pretty
God's
much.
sake. Like,
Pretty much.
what's not to love about that? Like, it's just funny. I'll think of other games as
To each
well.
their
Yeah.
own.
We,
Sure.
we can
Yeah.
bounce through
Yeah.
here. So.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you say anything yet, Nick?
Yeah, I had I think some people played this Mercenaries.
Mercenaries, yeah.
Playground of Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
I just loved it because like
Early 2000s?
early 2000s, and this was like one of the big games me and my brother got on our PlayStation. We didn't know anything about it, and we just started playing with it. And it's awesome how like it's kind of like they're invading North Korea, and they kind of have the map set up like Pyeongchang was like a big city that was there, but it was like it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, but you're a mercenary that helps out other organizations like South Koreans, the Allies, Russians. The Russians, Allies, South Korea, and there's one more. I can't think of it.
You can think of it later.
The Chinese.
Okay.
And then you all have the same enemy against North Korea, and it's just so much fun. And then there's a thing called the Deck of 52, which is all the North Korean like like each level you go through. So there's 52. So divide that by 4. There's about
The top heads that you want to assassinate
Yeah.
or kill or whatever.
so like you go through like we'll just say you go through the clubs. This is your first one. The clubs are just like propaganda workers and stuff like that, and like you go from the 2 clubs all the way up to the king of clubs, and then like once you get enough like intel, you can go after the ace of clubs. Which the more you get these bounties on them, I think like face cards are like $100,000, and the ace is like $1 million. But the ace of spades, which is like the leader of North Korea, I actually got on the spades, but I never finished it. And he's like $100 million. Like the bounties keep going up and up and up. Like so, then the next one's like officers, and like high-ranking generals, and then the next is like chemical warfare people, and then it's like the ace of spades, like hierarchy, like his like bodyguards and stuff like that.
I've never even heard of this game before.
It came out
it's
early
a lot of fun.
2000s. It was
It's
kind
an
of
older one, but
kind of like a knockoff GTA,
Yeah.
almost like a precursor to Just Cause, I would say almost.
Probably.
Oh, I love Just Cause.
But
It was
it's-
kind of like that.
But
Or
it's
it's
fun.
similar genre at least.
But it's fun because, like, the Russians are like the coolest, I think, because you can buy like cars from them and like military equipment and stuff like
Russia
that,
says everything.
and that's pretty fun. But then like everybody has like different vehicles that are like cool. Like the Chinese has got like a rocket tank, and me and my brother like we just as kids we're like, man, we'll just go blow up this city. So then we just started knocking down cities, left and right with this thing. It's a tank pretty much that shoots rockets. So much fun.
What's it called?
Mercenaries Playground Destruction. They made a Mercenaries
Playground of
2.
Destruction and Mercenaries 2.
Yeah, they made
not
that
too
on the
long ago, but-
360.
I'm trying to pull Steam up, but I had updates.
Yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
I was gonna see if it was on
It
Steam.
was kind of didn't have a huge lifespan in the
Yeah.
market. You know, it was I guess you could a decently big name title when it came
It
out.
was. Activision, I think, made it.
And then it had maybe a year or less than a year of like its heyday, and then it was kind of
Yeah.
done. And Mercenaries 2 came out, and I don't think it was very popular.
No.
It was
There's
pretty much a dud, I
Mercenaries
think, but-
Blaze. That's not probably the same one though.
No, Playgrounds of Destruction was
Yeah,
the
that's-
first one.
that's not on there.
It's older.
So.
Was that
It-
Xbox original?
PlayStation 2.
PlayStation 2?
Is
Okay.
what I had.
Okay.
It could be on Xbox. I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
But I know I had it for my PlayStation 2, and it was a lot of fun to play. Because, like, you can, like, have AK-47s, M16, sniper rifles, rocket launchers, missile
Yeah.
launchers, everything. It's just... And then, of course, when you get bored, you're like, I'll just look up the cheat codes. So then you find yourself a helicopter, get unlimited health, unlimited ammo, and you just go to town on everybody.
Dude, cheat codes back in the day were so
We're
much
so
fun.
cool.
They were so
I know,
OP,
right?
man.
So much
You
fun.
So
felt
OP.
like such a boss, and you're like, dude, I went on the internet and I looked up these cheat codes. And
Yeah,
I could
but,
beat
like,
this game
if
now.
you were on the internet looking up cheat codes in
Way back
2000 or
you
like
were-
the
you were
late
the real
90s,
deal,
like
man.
you were the cool one. Either that, or do you remember going into Walmart and just finding the game guides and looking
Yeah.
at the cheat codes in that?
Yep.
Dude, I miss those days. Like,
Remember-
life was just so different back then.
Remember
It's-
when games always had like a booklet
Yes.
that
Yep.
came with it? Remember when we had a video game rental place, like in Esterville? And you look in the back notes, and everyone's written down all the cheat codes, and you're like, everything you just add to it.
Yeah,
That was the best.
dude, those
Open
were
up
the
the game
days.
guide and see what happens.
Those
See,
were
I
the
never
days.
had that. I just... My
you,
aunt
missed,
bought...
you missed out.
Yeah,
man.
my
You
aunt,
missed
my
out.
aunt bought
just
me.
missed out.
My aunt bought me a PS2 for Christmas, and I thought I was on top of the world.
That was a bit. You were a bit young, probably
Yeah.
for those days.
Yeah.
No, but I remember the cheat codes. Like you ordered them through the Scholastic Book Fair at school. We always try to get like the
That-
updated
Well,
version.
you guys remember like the Game Sharks and stuff like that?
Oh yeah,
I have
had
an
a Game
action
Shark.
replay for my DS
Yeah,
actually, and I
yeah.
could pop in Pokemon and like everything would be shiny. And
A Game Shark for FF7. Remember that?
Yes, yes.
Give me everything.
And then another famous one, another. It's not famous, but it's another racing game I like to play was Midnight Club 3
Okay.
Hub
dude,
Edition.
I remember
Hub
those games.
Edition.
I played Midnight Club 2 at a friend's house a couple times and really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It was fun.
it's a lot of fun because like you go from different cities. Like you go from I think Los Angeles, Detroit, Atlanta, San Diego, and another major city in the United States. I can't think of it, but it was kind of fun. You buy the best cars. You get different classes.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
fun. And
Yeah.
also it was entertaining as a kid to do all that stuff.
yeah.
I love how
memories,
far
right?
behind Chad is because of the MediaCom.
Oh, I know.
Acting
it
up.
sucks. But
Like
It's
they're just
terrible.
now getting to the time travel and everything and teleportation in time travel on the stream because it's that far
that's
behind.
rough, buddy. That's rough,
That's
buddy.
that's rough.
We need to get fiber optics in here.
Dude, we just need to get a different company that's not MediaCom. Another
There's
game.
nothing the
I
worst.
know. There's nothing. There's another
around
game
here.
I thought of though that could be underrated, and all of mine, I guess, are going back to my childhood games because you
Sure.
know I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if it's because they always are going to hold a special place in my heart because I grew up playing them.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's
there
why,
was another Nintendo 64 game, Wave Race.
Okay.
I remember that.
I loved that game, dude. It was so cool. You're just on jet skis, and it's just a racing game, but with jet skis. I mean, it seems pretty.
Sure.
It was so much fun, dude.
Was Morpheus on that?
No.
Low key reference.
Then you had like Cruisin' USA.
Low-key.
Like Cruisin' USA was
Low-key
another one that I really
reference.
enjoyed. That I feel like maybe a lot of people played, but in my mind, it wasn't a super
Wave Racer?
popular
I don't
game.
think so.
No, Cruisin' USA.
Oh, I doubt it.
That was another one I really enjoyed. I'm trying to think of just all these childhood games that just are like
It's good
so
stuff.
You guys-
near
Good
and
stuff.
dear
You
to
guys
my
remember
heart.
SSX?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, the
snowboarding?
snowboarding
Tricky
game.
Tricky, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
dude.
popular then.
Yeah, that was. I had it on
It wasn't
GameCube.
that popular.
But I've
it
seen
was
a lot
kind of a
like-
cult classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I had it on
360,
GameCube.
360 remade the game,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
there's like a lot of people hopped on board on that one, I think. Because
Yeah,
I had some
I
friends that
remember
really played it
I remember
hardcore.
that.
You got any for us, Stan?
Of course I do. Like I was saying, it might be my favorite game of all time. Maybe Final Fantasy VIII. It's up there. Might be tied, but it really had a rough like welcome with being a successor to FF7, which was like
That wasn't the online one, was it?
no.
Okay.
No.
First online one was
11.
11. I don't know any Final Fantasy
7
games. I just
you're missing out.
Yeah.
I know you're not a JRPG guy, but
yeah.
you're missing out.
What, 7's just that?
7 was like is probably in consideration for the greatest RPG of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. It was just so revolutionary, storytelling and everything. And you look back at it now, and you're like, some people, if you don't have that love for it, you're like, wow, this is such a stupid game.
Is that the one they just did the remake of?
They just
Yes.
did a remake
Okay.
last year. Yeah,
Okay.
after 20 plus years of people just
Asking for a
wanting
remake,
it, and
yeah.
they finally gave it. And it was not what I wanted, to be honest. But anyway, Final Fantasy VIII had a rough start because it was so different. They did absolutely different everything compared to 7. So there's a lot of hate to it, but I love it so much. I actually yesterday, I got Logan to started playing it. So we were chatting all day about it, and he's getting into it. But so good, so good.
So Final Fantasy games,
Mhm.
like, can you just give like a general storyline?
They're each
of
different.
it?
Everyone is a different story,
like, what-
completely independent.
So when I think of Final Fantasy, I think of like just like a fantasy world. Like,
Kind of, yeah. Each is its own. And it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Like just a quick rundown, I guess, of 8. You are essentially like a college student in the broadest of terms or vaguest of terms. You go to what they call a garden, which is this big school kind of thing, and you learn to be you're like a mercenary soldier. That's what you're trying to become, like a student, a mercenary student. And it just evolves into this huge storyline of assassination attempts and like a sorceress that's trying to destroy the world and take over things, which becomes more even in-depth crazy stuff later on that I won't say, but it's just a fantastic single-player story game.
Agreed.
You're the hero trying to save. The
Kind
world,
of.
pretty much.
I mean,
Mhm.
essentially, yeah. That's how it ends up being, I guess. But fantastic. Recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you like the JRPG stuff, it's got its campy. It's basically a romance story, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But it's campy, cheesy, but so good,
There was one game
so good.
that I had on my Vita,
Vita, okay.
and
That's a while.
I don't remember what it was called, but I guess the more I hear you guys talk about Final Fantasy, the more I'm thinking of this game.
Okay.
And it's just because it was a JRPG that had like the turn-based combat and stuff, and I actually really kind of enjoyed
Sure.
it.
There's a lot of those.
Something Moon, I think. Maybe. If I had my Vita, I'd just be able to tell you right off the back. Top
There
of my
are a
head.
lot that have.
I know, but
I'm thinking of as Harvest Moon. I'm like, that's totally different.
no.
Simulation.
Maybe, let's see. PS Vita JRPG PS Plus because it was a free game.
Okay.
So maybe if I can find it. You guys can keep talking. I just know it was it was one that I actually really kind of enjoyed for whatever stupid reason, and I don't know why. I never made it far, never completed it because I just never played my Vita all that much. But when I did play it, you know, it was one of those things. It was fun. I don't know why. I heard Freedom Wars is a really good one as well. I just saw that on the list here.
I don't know what that is.
That one, you start out with I think it's a 1,000,000-year prison sentence, and you have to try to reduce it as low as you possibly can by doing different stuff. And it's kind of a cool.
Is it a simulation game too, like top down maybe?
I'll be honest, I am really not
Okay.
entirely. I never played it. It's one that I bought for my Vita because I heard nothing but good things about it. But then I just stopped playing my Vita, you know, because
It was a dying thing anyway.
It was, and it was a dying thing when I bought it, and then it hit the point with my Vita, I guess, where the left joystick, is either the left or right one. I think it was the right one, was kind of like bugged out, and it would just constantly kind of rotate you to the right if you didn't hold it.
Okay.
And
So
I'm like,
some drift.
yeah, it had some drift to it. So I just,
Joy-Con drift.
yeah.
I was about to say the Joy-Con drift issue,
Yeah. Interesting, but
but
Yeah.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
love
like-
8 as well.
and like 8 was popular, but it was definitely underrated. Like it kind of like signifies that description perfectly, I think. But another game. Oh, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the game called Alan Wake.
I've heard of it. I've never
That's
played
one
it,
of
though.
the greatest games I've ever played. So fantastic. It's a kind of like a thriller adventure game. It was on, I think it was purely on Xbox 360. I don't know if that's correct or not, but you are a writer who like he has like super bad writer's block, and he's like going on a vacation to Night Spring. I think it's Night Springs. Can't remember the name of the town. Like I think it's supposed to be in Colorado or something. To try with his wife to try and get, you know, through this writer's block and continue writing this book he's supposed to be writing. But your wife like disappears, and it's like all a mystery, and no one remembers you ever having a wife. And like all of a sudden everything starts going wacky, and when like night falls, like the darkness is like possesses like things and people and animals and stuff, and they try to kill you, and your only like source of weaponry is light.
Okay.
And like trying to piece this story together and find like the source of all of it, which ends up being like this, I don't know, like supernatural, like, I don't know, author or narrator to the story, which ends up being, I don't know, maybe some form of you, the writer,
Okay.
because you end up like playing through this game, which is one of the stories you were writing. Like you find the notes of the story that you're playing through the world, like in the world. Like it's a fascinating story how they did everything and stuff.
Yeah.
Really memorable characters, and like just it's all around amazing, and it's super underrated. There was like it got some really cool DLC too, like his philosophical metaphysical kind of like thought processes in this game. But it had I think it was called American Nightmare or something, like it was an arcade game on Xbox 360. It was a little bit of a successor to it. But there are talks of another game or a remake or a remaster or something coming out, because I don't know if you guys remember the game Control that came out a couple years back when it was Game of the Year.
Control.
Yeah.
Made by the same people in the same universe. They talk about Alan Wake
Okay.
in the game. So
Ho ho.
I have big hopes for that. Definitely, I recommend everyone check that game out. It's so good. So good.
Yeah, and I found that game I was talking about. It's called Rainbow Moon. Was the name of it.
Never heard of it.
I'd never heard
So
of it.
I never had either, but it was a free game for Vita way back in the day. And it was here's a short little description I got here. Rainbow Moon is a tactical role-playing game developed by SideQuest Studios and published by East Asia Soft. It was released through the PlayStation Network for PlayStation 3, Vita, and PlayStation 4. And you can actually buy it for $15. And I don't know, when I played it on the Vita, it was a fun thing to do just to kill time while I was at work.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe if I were to go back and try it right now, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But, back in 2015 when I would just be sitting in a car doing nothing for work, I was like, you know what? This is kind of a fun time killer. And it said in the description it has like 40 hours of content, which I know I never made it anywhere close. But it was a fun game. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say top tier,
Sure.
but it was one of those that I had fun playing. And
Yeah,
I know a lot
that's all that matters.
no one else on this table's even heard of it before. So that might be one of those that I might.
Sure.
I don't want to say it's underrated or anything like that because, like I said, I didn't even remember the name of it.
Like, it would be underrated because it's not rated for the most part,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean that could be true.
It's
And
just
on Google-
an unknown
yeah.
game, right?
Yeah, and on Google here it said like 68% liked this game because you can give it a
Sure.
thumbs up or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
thumbs down.
Gotcha.
You know, so 68% gave it a thumbs up, which is not very good. But
For a super unknown game, it's not terrible, though. Like, it's above 50%.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is a
so-
win for a game that no one knows,
It's
I think.
really true.
that's true.
You know?
Yeah, I kind of
But-
enjoyed it. Now I got 70% on Metacritic. It looks like here. It was just one of those that
Could be worse.
Yeah, it definitely could be worse. So I might have to go back and try it. Like just
Try
break
it,
out
see
my
it. I don't know.
Vita someday.
I've
'cause
never heard of it, but... Yeah,
honestly,
like,
They're on European countries right now.
Yeah. Like, yeah,
What's
so...
going on?
oh, he said he's reading what they're just getting to, and it. Yeah, they're way far behind because of MediaCom. So just
that sucks.
I'm not even looking at chat anymore because
Check that VOD. Or the
YouTube video.
YouTube video.
Yeah,
good.
we'll be up on
But
that.
yeah, so those were my two big ones, I guess. There's, I don't know, when Telltale Games, remember, was a big thing.
Oh, dude, I
They
love
came
those
out
games.
Those
yeah.
were really fun.
Oh, those were super
Um,
fun.
I know you've played it. Tales from the Borderlands
Yes,
was so freaking fantastic.
it was so good, man.
So good. I mean, if you guys have ever played the Borderlands series at all,
Yeah.
really good. Totally recommend. Fantastic world. Great comedic storytelling and characters and stuff. Just
Yep.
top tier for that. Tales from the Borderlands was a different switch up. It was from the Telltale series of video games that were really big. I don't know, less than 10 years back, right?
Oh yeah, that was like
Oh.
2015, 16, 17.
5, something like
Yeah,
that.
so I'd say 5 years
It's
ago they
since
were.
they since closed and then were bought out, right?
Yes.
Which could be coming back, different games like that. So
I'm gonna look up and see when the
we'll
Walking
see.
Dead.
Tales from the Borderlands is in that same universe after Borderlands 2. After, right? Yeah, after Borderlands 2. And the comedy in that and like character storytelling was fantastic. You hit different emotional highs and lows in one of the funniest games I've ever played in my life. Like the whole what was it? Space Station finger gunfight was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. But that's a different style of game too. It's not an action game or whatever, or adventure that you play. It's like you make a couple choices here and there and it does, you can choose which path.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's about it.
So I was way off, by the way.
What's up?
The season 1 of The Walking Dead from Telltale came out in 2012.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit older. But
I didn't realize it came out before the PS4 was even released.
Yeah.
Because that was
Yeah.
November 2013.
Mm-hmm. I
I
remember
couldn't
that.
remember when they were released.
Yeah, they were released in November of
I
2013.
remember that. Yep.
So that actually kind of blows my mind a
But
little
I
bit.
think comparatively to
We're
like
getting
the other
old.
parts of the franchise, I think Tales from the Borderlands is definitely underrated. It's which there might be a 2 coming, Jordan.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard.
Okay.
I've heard talks.
So
I don't
Tales
know
of the
if we'll-
Borderlands was November 25th, 2014.
Yeah. So definitely recommend.
That's probably one I was thinking of
It's
more.
relatively short. It's pretty short. It's easy. It's really fun.
Yeah, because they're not long games by
No,
any
no,
means,
no.
but the stories are fantastic,
Yes.
dude. I wouldn't say those are underrated though, because they have like a huge
Comparatively
cult
to
following.
rest of
Well, I mean,
Borderlands.
yeah, I
is
mean,
what
if you're
was
gonna compare
saying,
it to the
but
rest of the series, then sure. But I mean, they still
it's totally different. But yeah, it was
Telltale
good.
games have their own cult following, I guess, which that could be a whole nother thing. Like if the
Like
game
cult
is,
followings, yeah.
would that mean it's not underrated, or I don't know.
I think it's underrated in the general populace. Of
Yeah,
gaming.
I mean that's like me. I guess
A lot
with
of people don't even
Banjo-Kazooie,
know it
'cause that
exists.
definitely has a cult following.
But-
That's a
Well,
really fair
I mean,
point. Fair point.
Legend of Dragoon has a cult following. We have a petition that's going. We clearly have at least 27,000 of us diehard
I
fans.
mean, every game is a cult following
Exactly.
of some sort.
So-
You
Yeah.
know.
You know,
There's one more I was going to talk about. I forgot. Sad day.
I'm trying to think because there's so many games that I could go back, in my mind that I've played through and be like, okay, you know what, that was incredible, but no one's played it. And oh, dude, we should just at some point just bust out the Nintendo 64 library I have and just
well,
see.
we should just go and play a lot of these old games one of these
Yeah.
days.
Do you know what we should
so-
play? Superman 64.
No.
No.
Yeah, buddy.
So,
But,
but
Okay.
we've spent quite a bit of time on this,
We
so
have.
we probably need to move on to the last topic.
One thing though, super quick. There
play
is.
Alan Wake. That's the one thing you need to know.
I actually do have that on PC. It
Dude.
was. I think they had it on sale for $1 because they were losing
Play
rights
it.
to the music, so they couldn't sell it. So they were on sale for like $1.
Play it.
It was like, here, take it. But anyways, I know before you shut it down, because it is in Superman 64, do not shut this down because I really enjoyed it. I would say it's underrated just for there's a spaceship mode where you battle spaceships. It's like dogfighting in Superman 64. My brother and I, we would sit down and we would play that for hours. We would do, like, there's different maps that you could go through and like you could play on, and you would just battle spaceships. And I don't know why, so much fun. The main game sucked, but we would put it in the Nintendo all the time just to play the spaceship part. For us, that was fun.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
So I would say that's underrated in my mind.
Sure.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So let's move
All right.
on though, so we don't run
Moving
too
on here, I
long.
guess.